betta tank mates that are not safe for your betta. Now, mystery snails are small and they look like a little snack. Bettas, it's those little spikes and they all have toxins. Hello and welcome back to the channel, everyone. Today I'm gonna go ahead and do a video that is kind of the opposite of what most people do, which is betta tank mates that are not safe for your betta, that are not good for your betta, that you probably should just not even bother trying with your betta. Because I see a lot of times people are doing videos of safe betta tank mates, but they're not telling you what's unsafe. And in this list, there are some fish that people have put in their safe betta tank mates that I really hope none of you have tried because it probably ended terribly. But hopefully this video saves some fish lives, and hopefully you learned something as well because, well, I have a lot of stuff written down to talk about in this video. And not just the tank mates that aren't safe, but also talking about some things that people don't mention when it comes to having other fish or other inhabitants with your bettas. So if you've been keeping fish for a while, if you just started, if you've never had tank mates with your bettas, even if you've never owned a betta, but you could in the future, I definitely would watch this video all the way through because there's a lot of different information. Before we get into that though, I did add a couple things to the fish room I just figured I'd show you. We have a planner and a calendar. And even though I haven't written anything on here yet, I've written some stuff on this weekly planner here. And I don't want to spoil this. I don't want to show you guys all of the videos, but a lot is coming in 2021. And I'm actually filming this on New Year's Eve. So Happy New Year's to all of you. I hope you have a great year. And I know for a fact that all the videos I have planned just for January are going to be amazing. So make sure you guys smash that subscribe button and hopefully we can hit 100,000 in 2021. One last thing before we get into these tank mates, I am doing a video of betta tank mates that are safe for your betta, but I'm not gonna release it until this video hits 2,000 likes. So make sure you guys go right now, hit that like button if you wanna see betta tank mates that are safe. Does anyone want to do a tally of how many times I just said betta tank mates? Because that was a lot, but let's get into it. Now, I just want to start off by saying that some bettas just can't have tank mates. They're too aggressive, they don't want anything else in their tank, and that's okay, it may happen. So just keep that in mind when you go to try out tank mates, that it may just not happen. You may have to return the fish, you may have to put the fish or whatever in another tank. Make sure you have that in mind when you're trying out these different tank mates. But I'm gonna start going down the list of fish now, and the first one I'm gonna start with is mollies. Now, I know a lot of you have probably seen on other videos that mollies, platies are safe for bettas, but mollies and platies are only safe for bettas if they don't have long fins. And also you should try to avoid the color red. It's just something I've read online that bettas will pretty much automatically think it's another betta if it's a fish and it's red. However, I did have shrimp that were red and the betta never attacked them, never bothered them. So I don't know if that's true, but mollies and platies do get about 2 to 3 inches depending on which kind, and they can pose as a threat to a betta. Also, mollies and platies are kind of hard to keep because if you had just one molly or one platy with a betta, it is bound to end up causing problems. Which real quick brings me to the next tip, which is that you shouldn't have a betta tank mate in anything smaller than a 5 gallon. A betta shouldn't even really be kept in anything smaller than a 5 gallon, but tank mates, you shouldn't have anything smaller than a 5 gallon, and in a 5 gallon, you should really only have shrimp or snails as your tank mates. Once you start getting into a larger tank, like a 10 gallon or more, then you can kind of consider some other. But yeah, mollies and platies are just kind of not the best option, but if they're short finned, you can try them. Now, the next thing that is kind of obvious, but I figured I'd put it in this list, is a flower horn. So flower horns are a type of cichlid. They grow very large. Males have this giant hump on their head. Most flower horns need to be by themselves. It's very rare that you really see any flower horn with another fish. Depending on what size the flower horn is, they also need very large tanks like 55 gallons, 75 gallons. And a betta and a flower horn and a 75 gallon would kind of be pretty weird, which is also my second tip, which is that no matter what, even if you just have a betta in a tank, you should always have hiding places for your betta. Especially if you have betta tank mates, you need to have multiple hiding spots in a lot of plants so that the betta can feel safe, the tank mates can feel safe, and it'll just kind of all work out so that they can't see each other all the time and it doesn't stress either of them out. Now, this next one here, a lot of people get confused, so make sure you listen carefully. The third betta tank mate that should not be with a betta is an African clawed frog. Now, you have to be very careful because some pet stores get African clawed frogs and African dwarf frogs mixed up. African dwarf frogs are a frog that you can keep with a betta, but the clawed frogs get very large, they're very aggressive, they will just devour a betta. The betta pretty much stands no chance. So even at the store, if you go to get African dwarf frogs, make sure you look up pictures of African clawed frogs versus dwarf frogs, make sure you look at their size, everything like that, because you do not want to get the wrong one. Also, some people think that they're the same or similar. They're not. African dwarf frogs stay very, very small and African clawed frogs are very large, they will eat your betta. Now getting into the next betta tank mate, I have seen this one on a few people's lists, and that is going to be a mystery snail. And since I'm on the topic of a snail, I just want to mention bettas get sick, tank mates get sick, but you have to be very careful with the medicine that you use for your betta once you have tank mates, because if it's an invertebrate, if it's a snail, or if it's a shrimp, or even the frog, whatever medicine you use, there could be something in it that's not safe for them. So make sure you research whatever medicine you are going to use for your betta if it is safe for your tank mates as well. Now, mystery snails are okay to have with betta fish. However, it is very likely that the betta will eat the antennae or antennas, whatever it's called, of the mystery snail. Now, mystery snails are kind of large, they have long antennas. A betta will see that and think it's a worm sometimes and go and eat it. So although it's an okay snail to have with a betta, like I said, it does kind of pose a danger to the snail. It's unlikely that the betta will completely kill the mystery snail, but it is a possibility as well. And that again goes with everything. Any type of betta tank mate you put in there, it does pose a threat that the betta will be aggressive towards it, kill it, anything like that. Which is why you have to look out for these signs that a betta does not like its tank mate and that it's not gonna work. So if the betta is stressed, the betta may lose color, the betta may not swim as much, the betta may not eat as much, the betta may start hiding a lot. And if the betta doesn't like the tank mate and is being really aggressive, you'd kind of be able to tell by if it's like always chasing the tank mate, if it's like trying to nudge it or like push it around, if it's biting at it, things like that definitely signal that the tank mate is probably not going to work. And honestly, if you have a feeling that it's not going to work, you should just try to get rid of it as soon as possible. Either put it in another tank or bring it back to the store. Because if they start doing that, obviously they may do it at first when you first get the tank mate, but if it's too much, if you really think that the betta is going to hurt it, then just return it because you don't want to end up hurting the tank mate. Now the next one, and I don't know if this is obvious or not, but goldfish. Goldfish are not safe to have with bettas. It doesn't matter if they're young, it doesn't matter if they're old, it's just not worth it. Goldfish are actually kind of aggressive, and I didn't know this until I started really getting into fish keeping, but goldfish, no matter how pretty they look, how cute they look, they can be aggressive, and a lot of goldfish end up fighting other goldfish to the death. Also, a goldfish is larger than a betta, so that kind of wouldn't work out. Now, the sixth betta tank mate that is not safe for your betta is gouramis. Some people say that you can have like honey gouramis with bettas. That would kind of have to be in a larger tank, probably even like a 20-gallon. I don't see it working in a 10-gallon at all, because you probably have to have one honey gourami. It wouldn't work. So regular gouramis are just an absolute no. Honey gouramis are a possibility because I've seen them on other people's list. I haven't tried them out myself, but I've heard that they're less aggressive. But gouramis are pretty much similar to bettas, just a different shape. They're probably equally as aggressive. Now, number 7 for the unsafe betta tank mates is going to be an angelfish. Now, I see a lot of people have community tanks with angelfish and then they want to add their betta. It probably isn't going to work. Angelfish do get pretty big, and although you can have them in community tanks, I don't really see it working with a betta. Angelfish do have long fins. Bettas are really drawn to that to attack. The next thing is kind of obvious, I would assume at this point, but bettas. You cannot have a betta with another betta, except for if it's a divided tank, like a 10-gallon split in half that I'm actually creating right now, and so on, which in that case, you also want to make sure that each betta has 5 gallons and the divider is very secure, because if they see each other, they will probably try to get each other. Or if it's an all-female sorority tank, which sorority tanks shouldn't be put together unless it's probably a 20-gallon, and in that case it may not even work as well. Female bettas can be aggressive. I had a female betta that killed 2 Cory cats. But there's that, and also if they're breeding, if you're properly breeding the betta fish, then obviously they could be in the same tank because they have to do that to breed. But make sure you do your research on all of those things because it's very, very important. Now, number 9 on this list is an axolotl. So I looked it up, and some people have kept axolotls with bettas. It has worked somewhat. I would say to just completely avoid it because a mature axolotl can probably fit an entire betta in its mouth. And axolotls can't see that well, so they just may see something moving and go and attack it, and it could be that betta. So overall, I would just say to avoid axolotls with bettas. I don't really see it working that well. Now, number 10 is a fish that a lot of people say to have as tank mates. I've even recommended them, but doing a little bit more research, I kind of found out some more stuff. So neon tetras, that's my number 10 fish. And the problem with neon tetras is that you have to have them in a school, which means that you have to have 5 or more, but ideally 7 or more. And because they're so small, they're very easy for a betta to get. If they're not in a school, they'll definitely just, kill them. But neon tetras are very small and they look like a little snack. Bettas, especially if they're not fed properly, if bettas are not fed properly, they will go after the tank mates easily. And like I said, the tank needs to be a proper size, but in my experience, neon tetras are kind of hard to keep. Now, as a little bonus, I have an 11th fish for you guys, Cory Catfish. Now, Cory Catfish I've seen on pretty much everyone's list as safe betta tank mates. However, like I said, not every fish is going to be safe with your betta in particular. Your betta may just really not like Cory Catfish. But in my experience, Cory Catfish, I'm just probably never even gonna try again. Because my female betta killed the Cory Catfish and ate it and ended up dying from the poison that is in their spikes. The conclusion I came to as to how the betta died, but I don't know 100%. Now, if you didn't know, Cory Catfish do have those little spikes and they all have toxins in them. It's a mild toxin, it's not too strong, but in a betta, if the betta attacked the Cory Catfish and the Cory Catfish was stressed, it released a toxin, and then the betta ate it, it probably wouldn't survive like mine. Now, it is an ideal tank mate to have because Cory Catfish stay at the bottom of the tank and bettas usually stay at the mid to the top of the tank. It could work, you can try it yourself, but just in my experience, I don't really like them as tank mates. And number 12, because I had to throw in a few extra for you, is gonna be Guppies. Kind of the same thing with the mollies and platies. Basically, just nothing that has too long of fins. So they do sell jumbo ear guppies and show guppies that typically have like longer tails, longer fins. A betta is gonna be very much drawn to those fish. It also kind of goes with the neon tetra. You have to have multiple in the tank. You can't just have one guppy and one betta because it's just not gonna work. So aside from all those tank mates, just keep in mind that not every betta is gonna be okay with tank mates. Whether it's a male betta or a female betta, it may just not work. Because if the betta or the tank mates get stressed from each other being in the tank, it makes their immune system weaken and then they can contract more diseases and stuff like that. And you can reduce the stress by having, again, just a lot of hiding spaces, a lot of plants, and just making sure you monitor the situation because again, bettas are aggressive fish. But I do think that is it for these unsafe betta tank mates. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. Like I said, I wanted to post this video because I don't see any articles or any videos out there of just completely unsafe tank mates or tank mates that are like maybe not do them. You know, like the mollies, the platies, the neon tetras, guppies, things that are okay, but they're not the best. So I just want to put this video out for you guys. Hopefully this helps you out. Make sure to hit that subscribe button and drop a like. And again, 2,000 likes, I'll go ahead and release the video of these safe betta tank mates. Also, comment down below what tank mates you have with your betta fish, or if you just have a betta fish alone, or what betta tank mates didn't work for your betta. But that is it for this video. I enjoyed filming this video so much because, like I said, it's just, the information is just not out there. And it's kind of helpful because if you have a video of the tank mates you can't get and a video of tank mates you can get, then you can kind of compile that list and figure out what you want to get. But thank you everyone for watching this video, and I will see you in the next video in a couple days because, you know, we're getting on that grind, trying to post every other day or every 3 days, something like that. January starts tomorrow, so we gotta kick it off. But I'll see you guys in a couple days with a new video. Other than that, make sure you guys subscribe, hit that like button, drop a comment for me, follow me on Instagram at planet.fishness, and I'll see you guys in a couple days with another video. As I just said 4 million times in a row, I don't know why I do that, but bye.